It began like any ordinary day in the serene, breathtaking landscape of Banff National Park, Alberta, Canada. Towering peaks, silent forests, and endless trails paint the image of wilderness perfection. But on June 5, 2005, that pristine tranquility shattered into chaos and fear. Welcome to Nature's Last Call, where we uncover the most haunting and unforgettable stories the wild has to offer. Today, we bring you one of the most chilling encounters ever recorded in the Canadian Rockies, the terrifying last moments of Isabelle Dubé, a 35-year-old trail runner, fitness trainer, and mother. Isabelle set out for what should have been a peaceful hike near her hometown of Canmore. What followed was a harrowing and fatal confrontation with a grizzly bear, one that would shock an entire nation. Her final moments are not just terrifying, they are a haunting lesson about the unpredictable power of nature. But before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on our upcoming videos. Now, let's get started. Who was Isabelle Dubé? Isabelle wasn't a novice in the mountains, far from it. She lived in Canmore, Alberta, a small mountain town just east of Banff, famous for its athletic community and outdoor lifestyle. As a passionate environmentalist and trail runner, Isabelle had an unbreakable connection with the outdoors. She trained regularly in the alpine wilderness, teaching others about fitness, strength, and harmony with nature. She was also a former competitor in the North Face Canadian Death Race, an ultramarathon so grueling it's named after mortality itself. Isabelle embraced challenges with both courage and caution. That made what happened even more terrifying. A hike that would never end. On the morning of June 5th, Isabelle set out for a hike near the Fairholme Range, close to Canmore, with two friends. The trail was known, moderate, and familiar to them. At this time of year, Banff is in its spring bloom, snow melting, wildlife emerging. As they made their way along the trail, they unexpectedly crossed paths with a female grizzly bear. The bear was already in the area earlier that day and had been spotted near a golf course, behavior that had wildlife officers on alert. The bear had shown signs of food habituation, a dangerous condition when bears associate humans with food sources. Isabelle and her friends tried to back away, but the bear wasn't interested in a peaceful encounter. It charged. In mere seconds, the calm of the wilderness turned into chaos, the bear's sudden aggression shattering any sense of safety. What was supposed to be a peaceful morning hike quickly spiraled into a life-or-death struggle none of them were prepared for. The first encounter. Startled and panicked, the group ran. Wildlife experts often advise against running from a bear, but in the chaos of the moment, instinct took over. The three women split up in different directions. Isabelle ran toward a tree and managed to climb several feet up. But grizzlies are powerful climbers. Despite her desperate efforts, the bear caught her. Isabelle screamed for help, her voice echoing through the mountains. Her friends, safe from a distance, could do nothing but watch in horror. The bear mauled Isabelle fatally beneath the very tree she had climbed for safety. The forest, once filled with laughter, fell into a haunting silence broken only by the rustling leaves and distant cries. What began as a scenic hike had turned into a nightmare carved forever into their memories. The aftermath. Authorities were quickly called to the scene, but by the time wildlife officers arrived, Isabelle was already gone. The grizzly had vanished back into the wild. Search crews later recovered her body near the tree. The attack was so sudden, so violent, and so unprovoked that it sent shockwaves throughout Canada. Isabelle had no food, no attractants, nothing that would trigger a typical bear confrontation. This was not just a tragic accident, it was a brutal reminder of how little control humans truly have in the wild. Why did the bear attack? Experts from Alberta Fish and Wildlife analyzed the behavior. The grizzly bear involved had become habituated to humans. This means it had frequent, non-fearful encounters with people and likely lost its natural instinct to avoid them. The bear had been seen days earlier at a local golf course scavenging garbage. She was not starving. she was not defending cubs. The area had even been temporarily closed to the public a week prior because of increased bear sightings. But after no further incidents, it was reopened. The attack was non-defensive and predatory in nature. That's rare. Grizzlies generally avoid humans and attack only when threatened. But this bear exhibited a calculated, deadly behavior pattern. Soon after Isabelle's death, the bear was located and euthanized by officials. A community in grief. The town of Canmore mourned deeply. Isabelle wasn't just a local, she was beloved. Her death sparked community vigils and discussions around bear safety, conservation, and the increasing tension between growing human presence in bear territory. Her daughters, just 6 and 8 years old, were left without their mother. Her partner, friends, and fellow athletes were devastated, but they didn't let her memory fade. Instead, Isabelle's life became a symbol, a rallying cry for deeper respect for the wild, a plea for stronger wildlife management, a lesson etched into the landscape of Banff forever. Bear-human conflict, a growing threat. Isabelle's death was not the first bear attack in Canada, but it became one of the most discussed because of how quickly, suddenly, and fatally it occurred. With increased tourism, development, and recreation in protected areas, bears face more human interaction than ever before. When wild animals get used to people, they lose their fear, and when they lose fear, tragedies happen. Alberta Parks has since increased warning systems, closed trails more aggressively, and focused heavily on bear-proofing food and waste areas. But the issue isn't going away. Climate change, shrinking habitats, and human sprawl are pushing bears closer and closer to our doorsteps. The sound of her final breath. What truly haunts those who study Isabelle's story is the fear she must have felt in those final seconds. Clinging to a tree, listening to her friends scream from a distance, watching the massive predator approach. It wasn't just a random accident. It was a fatal collision between two worlds, human and wild, set in motion by years of encroachment, mismanagement, and misunderstanding. Even experienced outdoorswomen like Isabelle, with all her knowledge, strength, and courage, can fall victim to nature's raw, unpredictable power. A cautionary tale for all. Isabelle's story isn't meant to scare people away from nature, but it does serve as a chilling reminder. Nature is not a playground. It's a living, breathing force filled with both beauty and danger. We are guests in the wild, and with that comes responsibility. Hikers, campers, and tourists must remain vigilant. Carry bear spray. Respect trail closures. Never leave food unattended. And most importantly, never forget that even the most serene trail can turn deadly in seconds. Her legacy. Today, the trails around Canmore and Banff still see runners, hikers, and nature lovers daily. But those who know Isabelle's story walk them with a deeper respect. Her name is spoken not just with grief, but with admiration. For her spirit, her love for the earth, her fearless pursuit of life, and the heartbreaking way it ended. A memorial bench dedicated to Isabelle now stands in the Canmore Nordic Center, overlooking the very wilderness she once embraced. Flowers, notes, and running shoes are left by strangers touched by her story. What happened to Isabelle Dubé is not just a wilderness tragedy. It's a human story about risk, nature, and how thin the line between beauty and danger can be. It's about a woman who lived fiercely and died in the very place she loved most. And it's a reminder that in every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig, and every footstep into the forest, we must walk not with fear, but with humility. We must never forget. On Nature's Last Call, we explore the untamed edge of the world where humans and wilderness meet, and in Isabelle Dubé's case, where they collided with irreversible consequence. Let her story be more than a tragedy. Let it be a lesson, a legacy, a call to act not only to protect ourselves, but to preserve the balance between our world and theirs. If this story moved you, subscribe to Nature's Last Call and join us as we uncover the forgotten tales of the wild, those that inspire, those that terrify, and those that must never be forgotten. hit that like button. Share Isabelle's story and comment below. Do you think we're doing enough to protect wildlife and ourselves from dangerous encounters? Together, we can honor Isabelle's memory by learning, preparing, and walking with respect into the places she loved most. Rest in peace, Isabelle Dubé. Your courage, passion, and love for nature will echo through the mountains forever.